all welcome to this interview. Today, Floodlights Daily is doing an interview with Reverend Amoako Mensah and his lovely wife, Dr. Wilhemina Mensah. I'm very delighted to interview two of my very good friends. We're all members of the Baptist Students Union in Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Accra, Ghana, in Kumasi, sorry. And we've known each other since the period 2004 when we were students in Kyei University. And I'm very happy with what God has done in their lives. I would go through their brief bio. Reverend Amoako Mensah is a minister with the Ghana Baptist Convention. He is the pastor in charge of Sasabi Baptist Church. He's a teacher by calling. He has a teaching ministry called Christ We Preach, and they hold regular webinars to discuss some topical biblical issues. He also has another ministry called the Pastor Teacher Ministry. Dr. Wilhemina Mensah is a biochemistry lecturer with the University of Ghana. She's a lactation consultant and a child evangelist. They've been married for 10 years, just recently celebrated their 10th wedding anniversary, and they're still in the anniversary mode. They have 3 children by the grace of God, 2 boys and a girl. And then they have 3 companies also. They have the Kyemen Baby Online, Kofama Courier Services, and Hearty Nutrition Africa. So this is their official bio. I don't know if I should talk about the unofficial bio, but I think
which one is that?
No, this is good enough. So
okay, yeah, I think
we are privileged to be interacting with them. We want to find out a few things about how they started their business, where they started from, the journey they've traveled, the lessons they've learned, where God has brought them to. And we believe that at the end of this discussion, we'll have learned a lot for our own, those of us who want to have family businesses, especially those who want to run it online. So can you tell us, first of all, why did you decide to start an online business?
Okay. Well, it's not just, we cannot pin it to just one reason. There are varied reasons, and there was a time when we started working, and we both moved to Accra. She was a lecturer, then I with the medical school at Kolebu, and I was with an engineering company. Then after some time, some factors influenced the need to get a second stream of income, and that's how come we started. These sets of companies that you mentioned.
Wow.
Okay, so I think the other aspect is about why online. So the online gives you the opportunity to run the business even when you are not directly there, as in you can run it along your normal jobs that you are doing. So when we say online, basically, when it comes to selling, what it means is that you have the goods, somebody orders the goods, and then you send them by dispatch, and then the person receives the package. So even if you are not in direct contact with the person, you can still do the business. Or the person will not visit your office or doesn't even know where you operate from. The person can still have access to your business. So it's kind of a very easy way out for somebody who is already in a formal job to actually make it an add-on business if you want to do it online, especially when it's physical goods and services you run, or even if it's services, you can still do it because you advertise online, they see it on their phone or something, give you a call, and then you also send it by dispatch to them. So it was a very easy way to actually try out something, to find an extra income stream by an online platform. Yeah. So that's why.
While still keeping our traditional jobs, 8 to 5 jobs.
Okay. So just to backtrack a little, your Reverend Kyei, you said that one of the reasons why you started your own business was to help you manage family, right? Manage family and business. So how did you decide on the kind of goods that you would sell? How did you decide? I think you used to sell kitchenware once upon a time, if I'm not mistaken, on Facebook or something like that.
Yes, when we started with water. I think that's a vegetable dicing. And for that, I'll give the credit to her because she started with that. Then I got involved. But was it because that was the intent and realized that this is something which, because we didn't want to sell just any product that you could walk into any shop and that was one idea of fashion that we always wanted to do. You wanted to be involved with things which you wouldn't get in your normal neighborhood markets, supermarket, because if it's easily accessible, then there is no need why a person would want to order it from you, maybe from another region, from another town. So when we realized that, we saw that it was a solution to some home problems, and that's how we started with those ones. And it did well. Yes, it did well for the farm before we ventured into.
Right. So how has the journey been? I mean, how did it start off? If you can just tell us the early days of Kyemen Baby. Has it always been called Kyemen Baby? The early days of the business. How was it? Your expectation vis-a-vis what was actually happening on the ground? You can just give us some insight into that to encourage some, baby entrepreneurs who have now started their journey.
All right. So can
you also tell us how old Kyemen Baby is now?
We started in 2016. 2016 August, but I'm sure that's when we had the certificates. But we started a few months earlier. I cannot pinpoint exactly.
So if it's 2016 to 2022, that's about the math, guys. Yes, that's like 6 years now, right? Yeah, 6 years. Okay, so it's 6 years running this online business. Great. So how was it like in the beginning? Everything is pretty hard in the start. I don't know if it was easy to that's it.
Well, I think that for online, that makes it a bit easy because most of the time you don't even have the physical product. So what usually we did was that, so far as we know the one who has the product, you just need a picture or a video of the product and you show it to friends. That mostly at first it was through WhatsApp. So you have a list of friends and then you just share the pictures and the videos with them. You may not even have the product. So it's not really capital intensive for you to say that it's difficult or not. So you just show the products to them. And then if they are interested, then you contact the person who has the product and you take it, you sell it, then you take your profit and you give the person's money back to the person. So I think the only challenge we had in the beginning was delivery. How to get the products to the person. Those in Accra at that time, dispatch riders were not so common. You don't really make them so much. So we were working with delivery companies and they were also really messing us up. You talk with the person will agree, they will take the product and then at the end, they will go and mess you up. Either they talk roughly with the person, they don't deliver the product, a whole lot. And I think delivery was a major challenge. Even for those outside Accra, you wanted them to pay before you send the product. I said, no, we don't know you. So we cannot give our money to you when we have not seen the product. So I think in terms of finance, it wasn't so difficult because we didn't stock so much of it. But the major hurdle for an online business is trust. That people will trust you that what you say you have, and then you'll be able to deliver it. And I think that was the major challenge. I don't know if you can remember any other challenge.
Well, yes, I think
can tell us.
Yeah, she mentioned delivery. That's getting the product to the end user. That was a major challenge. Another challenge perhaps would have been, and that is something which should be expected, but you see there are some challenges which are, you call them positive challenges. So you see them and they rather help you to grow. And one of them was how to create a demand for the end users, because sometimes you have the item, but the person doesn't know what it does. So our challenge was now to convince the person that this is something that you actually need. Because some of the items that we sold were, you call them luxury items. They were things which a home can survive without needing. But then if you are selling them, then you need to give them reasons why they should spend money to buy what you are selling. And I think that's something which, for any person who enters into business, you are offering a solution. Even if you are selling something, a service or a product, you are still offering a solution. And to offer a solution, you have to pinpoint the particular problem that this solution will solve. And that's something that when we started, we really had to convince some people a need why they needed to buy our product. Then she's already mentioned about the trust. People, I think during that time, around 2016, there were a few online shops there which some had swindled people and so many things. So I remember for most people, they would want to see the item before they buy. Then there were also people who sometimes you speak with them, you get to their end, about to make the delivery, then all of a sudden you cannot reach them.
Yeah, the legacy on Richard.
Yeah, I remember there was one guy we drove from Adenta to Osu. He directed us to the particular spot where we should wait for him. We waited, Susie. We waited, and we are still waiting.
He never got back to you.
He'll come tomorrow.
Wow.
And of course, there were sometimes people who would rather want to swindle you.
Yes.
So there were shops which were swindling people. Then there were people who were also swindling shops. So
wow.
Sometimes they would want to lure you to a particular position where they think you may be vulnerable. Then once they know you do not know that area, they can pounce on you and just pick up the item without paying. So security even was an issue because you have to be entering people's offices, the homes of people, and you know how Ghana is like. Sometimes you get to a neighborhood and you are not too sure which house you want to go to. Then once you drive, you move to this house, we check there's not this, we check there's not this one. Then anyone around will begin to suspect that you're up to something.
Yeah. And
that security was a challenge as well.
And the thing is that at first we were doing the deliveries ourselves. We didn't have dispatch riders or anything. So in the morning, we will set out to do deliveries before we go to work. And then some to do it after work or over the weekend. So we were actually going ourselves. Sometimes we get to somebody's house, the person will be on the 3rd or 4th floor. And the person will tell you to carry the things upstairs because they can't walk up there. So I think that was one major challenge. And dispatch riders will also want to take your money.
This is a family interview, so you can see family members coming in. Hello, Abna, how are you?
Yeah.
It's all well and good. It's all well and good.
And even with the challenge that she mentioned, it brought to mind one other challenge.
Sorry, go ahead.
It even brings to mind one other challenge with anyone who wants a second stream of income, and that is how to manage the time. I remember we either had to pack the orders very early in the morning or sometimes very late in the night. And we were all family people. We had, at that time, we had 2 children, 2 very young boys. And yet, sometimes you return from your normal work, I close at 5. By the time I get home, it's almost 8 o'clock. you have to eat, then perhaps get a rest. Then you have to now go and pack the orders because people would have ordered during the day. That's the time that we pack the orders. Then in order to do the deliveries, you have to leave very early in the morning, go and do them before you go to work. So it's, if you need a second stream of income, that's something you should be aware of that. You still have your 24 hours and you now have to manage that 24 hours in a way which you still give to your main employer what he deserves, you give to your family what they deserve, and even to your partner as well. So it wasn't a joke for us.
Sure. So how long did you juggle? I know Mina presently is still, she has another job and she's doing this on the side, but you left your main job along the line. How long did you juggle it with your main job? And then what made you decide that you're no longer going to juggle it with your main job, Reverend Mensah, and that you are going to drop your main job and then go fully into this?
I'm sure it would have been for a year.
Okay.
Maybe roughly a year or a year and a few months. And the factors which influenced my resignation from my main job to concentrate on this was that at that time, Mina was studying. I mean, apart from lecturing, she was also doing her PhD. And the business we had, I think, employed 4 people at the time. And there needed to be someone to manage these 4 people. So either herself or myself, one of us had to leave our jobs, then come home. And it was easy for me to leave because I wasn't studying then. So I just had to leave my job. But then leaving my job also came with some added benefits for me. At that time, I had started ministerial training. And the kind of job I was into, it required a lot of traveling. So because I had to travel, and if you have to be present at church and you have to be traveling all around, it's not always the best of situations. Then the second benefit it afforded us too was that our children were still young. As at 2017, the first one was just about 4 years. And they needed someone to be home. My mom was home taking care of them, but they needed at least one parent to be close to home. I remember we had this challenge where we had this experience one time when we took him to school, and we took him to his headmistress before 6 a.m. that the headmistress will send him to school. It was later that we were told that the headmistress also forgot and left him at home, at her home.
Wow.
So that he was home alone till I think midday when someone saw that there was a child moving inside. They notified her to come for him. So at some point we realized that yes, it's good to make money, it's good to do all these sorts of things, but to what extent? What are you willing to lose? Are you willing to lose family in order to gain what you are searching for? And we're not prepared to sacrifice family at the time. So it was good that I came home to manage the business and also have time for ministerial training and the family as well. Wow.
I like the premium that you put on family and being close to family. I believe there was a shortfall in income, wasn't there, when you left your job?
Yes, there was.
So how did you manage that?
When we got married, we got married with a certain income. And with the income that we got married with, we still managed to survive. So as we moved along and our salaries were increased, we're very much aware of the fact that it is possible to live within our means. So that's something that we've been very conscious of, living within our means. So when the salary level dropped, we're aware that that's what has happened. I mean, what can you do? You just have to stop doing some things, or the quality of life, yes, was still the same, but then if you live within your means, I think it's possible to live temporarily without a second source of income of one partner.
We also add is that I think that before he left, we did an evaluation and realized that the business will pay him. You get it? So I think anybody who also listens and then is thinking about leaving your job for like maybe something else you are doing, you should be able to assess that whatever I'm leaving my former job to do, will it be able to pay me about maybe even more than what I'm getting at the company? Because this at first you will be earning something there, and then you're adding what the company brings. So if you are leaving, then let's say the company should be able to pay you twice as much for you to be able to leave, because if not, you would you face some difficulties. Yes, so we did that assessment and realized that it would be worth leaving and then coming to build our own. Also with the fact that we knew that the company could pay him what he's earning at his former place. And then if he comes to also supervise and then make sure that work is done, we'll be able to even make more. So I think that assessment should also be made, because I know a lot of friends who say, oh, I have a passion, I want to follow my passion, without clearly doing an evaluation that what I'm leaving to do, will it be able to sustain the kind of life that I have now? Because you have family depending on you, you have children, you have church, social responsibilities and all. So you should also do all that assessment and then also live within your means, as he said, in case you have any shipwreck. That one, it can always happen. Sales can drop, something can happen, anything can happen, yes.
Yeah, that's true, because I also know friends who left their main job to go into business, their passion, different kinds of businesses. It was really rocky in the beginning. So that's a decision that must be taken with a lot of wisdom. And I also think that perhaps what may have helped in your case was the fact that at least one person still had a main job. Because where a married couple both leave their main businesses and then start a business, if they don't have a lot of money already saved, it can be rocky. So yeah, I'm happy.
It really can be. And I think we just have to remember that passion itself does not bring money. Passion itself does not bring money. Yeah. But then with the passion, it's possible to commit yourself to whatever you are doing, to make sure that the profit is huge.
Sure. So you talked about lots of very useful points here. We'll take them, one by one. Let's look at online marketing tools or online tools. What online tools? Just briefly, I mean, you can just tell us the online tools you use, which you think would help anybody thinking about starting an online business.
Okay, I think from the beginning, the main online tool that we started with was WhatsApp. So we share with our friends, we create broadcast list, and then you share with your friends. And not just sharing with them, you also have to convince them to also, like you said, know what it does. Then after some time, after marketing to all the friends for some time, realized that they were becoming fatigued, because every time you send it to the main friend, the same friend, so you had to look for other customers. So we moved on to these online classes, before them was classifieds or something like the GG, OLX, Jumia, Tonaton. So we went to those platforms too. So we started advertising, then it was pretty good. We were getting a lot of orders and all that. Just that it wasn't so much. Then we also moved on to Facebook. We did a lot of Facebook. And then I think it was Facebook adverts that really gave us the leap. It really gave us a huge leap. And then there was a lot of expansion. So after some time, we started the website, and then we were able to build the website and then uploaded the products. Then I think the website, no, they not really give us traffic, but it made us, it positioned us to some level that people realize that the business is not just any other business, but something that you've invested money to. Then I think we moved to Instagram, and then to Twitter, LinkedIn, so all any available online sites that we can list on. We listed, and now Google. Yes, now we are also very active on Google. And
Google
I think Google
Ads, or are you talking about Google Ads or what?
Okay, we don't run Google Ads, but because of the website, when you you optimize you optimize your product very well. When people search, they find you, and that gives us a lot of traffic now because of the age of the website. As the website ages, your products show more on Google as time goes on, and now we have a huge traffic also from Google, and it's been pretty good. Yeah.
Okay, so you've talked about WhatsApp, they moved on to Facebook, talked about Instagram, a bit of LinkedIn, and then your search engine optimization. I've heard a few things that Facebook algorithms used to work really well these days. I mean, in some time ago, but that these days, Instagram ads pay and give greater results. What's your take on that?
Yeah, at first, Facebook was very good, but these days, Facebook algorithm is not working anymore. I think with the advent of videos, there are a lot of videos on Facebook, so now picture ads don't really run. But if you are able to do video ads on Facebook, you are able to get some results. But when it comes to income flow, Instagram gives a lot of income compared to Facebook. Instagram is massive. And even that one, even that one, if you do picture, you are not getting a lot of
attention.
Returns. Yes, you have to do reels. Now the whole attention has turned to reels, and you have to do a lot of reels. If you're able to do reels, then you are in. So now Instagram is the in thing, and Google. Google also is very good if you are able to do your optimization.
Okay, thanks for sharing that tidbit. How about your accounting? How do you manage your accounting? I know Reverend Kyei Mensah has a first degree in mechanical engineering and from Kyemen University. How is it going with the accounting? If you can tell us how you're managing your accounts. You talked about making sure you live within your means and all of that, but how are you doing your bookkeeping and all?
Okay, so when it started, and that's one thing about sole proprietorship. Once you start, you are in charge of everything from HR to accounts to finance to administration to everything. You do everything. So we had to learn accounting on our own, accounting for dummies maybe, but at least we got to learn something. And I think basically we had to know what was coming in versus what was going out. I think that's the basis of accounting, knowing what comes in versus what goes in. And for a start, we were okay. There was a time when we registered the business, and like any Ghanaian business, once you are registered, you have to be tax compliant. So we began paying all those things. And I think those are things which gave our company some level of credibility in the eyes of people. When we started right from the start and we employed people, we decided we're going to pay their full statutory payments, their SNET, the tier 2, GRA pay as you earn, and withholding taxes and other things. So when we started, I was doing it on my own, but now we have what do you call it? Someone like an accountant who, not a full-time, but he comes every week to come and do account for us.
Really account for you, yes. That's great. And I know managing family, managing ministry, managing career on the side. How is it going? I mean, how is it going? I know you're a pastor in charge at Sasabi Baptist Church, and then you're managing your family, juggling this. How's it going for the two of you? Mina is also a lecturer at University of Ghana teaching biochemistry. So how are you juggling it all?
Okay. I lost you for a while, so if you just repeat the question. But
okay. I want to find out how you are juggling ministry, being a pastor in charge at Sasabi Baptist Church with the business, and also how Mina is juggling, her career with the business.
Okay, I must admit from the start that it's not an easy thing. It's really not an easy thing. And I mean, you know, I'm not just involved in church ministry, but then also in some other para group ministries. And because I have friends who know that I'm a minister, sometimes they want to get you involved in some ministerial activities on their behalf. So in view of that, it's I think managing your own time, it's something which I am still learning to do, managing to do everything at a time. Then I think for church, the church plant where I am now, the demands are not what you would expect of like a very big church. It's a church plant, it just started. The number is relatively smaller compared to most other churches. So the demand there is not so much. But then the demands at home, we are raising a family. The youngest now is 4 years and the oldest is 9. And they ourselves are my first congregation, how to train them and make sure that once they step out, they represent the values which I subscribe to. It's another matter. Then also, I think it's just time management. There are days that I am meeting by my own schedule, but I think once you decide to manage your own time, then see what is needful, what needs to be done, what can wait. There are some things which are important, but they are not urgent. And I also have this principle sort of that I don't allow myself to be hurried about by other people. So in emergencies, you may see me as the very calmest person, because not just because I am, but I refuse to allow myself to be hurried by other people. So I have this principle that your failure to plan does not constitute an emergency on my side. So sometimes people would come to you and they would want to force you into their schedule to do things for them. And I'm very conscious of that. If I think I'm unable to do it, I know how to say no. I'll let you know. If I'm able to do it, I'll gladly help.
That's great. Mina, what's your take on it also? How you juggling? I know I'm a lecturer like you, and I know it's not easy to be a lecturer. And I know you're also supporting, Reverend Kyei with ministry, especially with the children department. And then you've got this business to handle. You've got your family, little children to take care of. How are you managing, Mina?
Oh, I think it's the same. We are still learning. It's been tough, very, very tough. Just that you have to survive. So I have a note on my phone that one day at a time. So that is what I do. I take one day at a time as the day comes. So my husband always tells me that I'm a very bad planner. And sometimes I'm not even able to take a decision today for what will happen tomorrow, because I know it can turn out to be a different thing because of all the various things you do. Today you'll be sitting here and then they'll call you that come for a meeting, come and do this, come and do that. So I think for me, I take one day at a time and one thing at a time. So when I wake up, I do what I can do at that time. If I'm not able to do it, I shift it to the next moment and I take my time. When I'm tired, I rest. I have my off days. Those days, I just sleep in bed. I don't even get up.
I like that.
I just sleep. And just at a point, I just decided that no, I also have to rest. So if the only thing that will let me get up on that day is when I have to teach. But if I don't have any class, I will just lie down and then rest. Even food, he has to bring me food.
I'm clapping for Reverend Che at this point.
Yes, because sometimes if you don't slow down, the body will slow you down. You would move and move and move, and then the body will shut down, and then you realize that no, you have been overrunning the body. So I think for me, I take one day at a time. If you tell me tomorrow, what will you do? I plan for like maybe tomorrow I'll do this and that, but I'm not really bothered if it doesn't go that way, because there are so many things maybe you are there, then your child just falls sick. Whatever you have planned, you have to cancel it, because that one is emergency. So I think my favorite verse in the Bible, do not worry about tomorrow.
Has enough troubles on its own.
That's my favorite verse in the Bible. It says that the birds of the air, they don't breed, they don't plant, but God takes care of them. So for me, people say you are carefree. Like when you sent us the questions, like, hey, have you read through? Oh yes, I'll scan you, but I know that it can even move a different way, and other questions will be asked. So I think that I think for me, it's my rest in God, that God is in control, that I have a Father who cares for me, and that at every point when I cry to him, he will be there to see me through. So when I hit a rock, I just stay calm and pray that God take control, and I know everything will be calm. So sometimes people wonder, how are you able to do all this? Me, I just rest. If I'm tired, I rest. I like sleeping. That's my hobby.
You like what?
Sleeping.
I didn't get that, sure. Definitely. We need to rest. I know that for sure. We really need to rest when our bodies are tired. So how big is you mentioned that you have 3 companies now. It's like I've been talking just about one. There's Kyemen Baby Online, there's Kofama Mikuria, there's Hearty Nutrition Africa. What do you have to say about all products and services for these various businesses that you are running?
Okay, then let me just mention this. There was another one there were others which we didn't follow up to. So the one we did, the thesis writing one. We engage in other businesses, which there are some which you start and you realize you can't continue with this, so we just drop them. But then for these 3, for Kofama, it started as a wing of the online company of Kyemen Online. We couldn't rely on outside riders, so we had to create our own delivery company, which would work for us. Then, if there is opportunity, it works for other people as well. So they are still part of the main group. They work together. Then Hearty came about because we wanted to. For the baby food side, we wanted to create our own brand of baby food and other food items. I think overall, there should be about 28 people who we are working with unofficially, but then there are other people on contract who do things for us as and when they are needed.
Wow, so you have 28 official employees.
Yes.
That's wonderful. We thank God for that. What have been the challenges of the business? The high moments, the low moments. I know you've mentioned a few in the beginning. You've mentioned some of the challenges you faced, maybe any other, and then also the high moments of, the business.
Well, I think if you consider high moments, once you do any business for 6 years and you still have what it takes to carry on with it without relying on other people for financial sustenance, then it means the business is doing something in terms of at least financial stability that it gives you. And for that, that's something we are really grateful for. It's for the past 6 years, I haven't worked anywhere. She is still working, but if you consider what our spending is like, what she earns would be unable to take care of us. So the business, in that sense, has done so much to help us financially, and that's a high need. At least you almost every day you see money. So.
Yeah. The last time we took a loan was
2014.
It's a very long time. We've not had to look for a loan or something to do anything. And I think the business has been good. At least, if anything, they bought us a land, they built us a house, and everything we have now that we can boast of it because of the business. And at least it also supports the ministry, because the ministry we do, considering we have the children, we have a good, I think we didn't even add it, the Good News Club that we run. It's very capital intensive because we feed the children twice when they come, and they are now a lot. And it's a business that's also fun. I think every weekend we spend like.
Okay, so maybe you can put it this way, that I'm into bivocational ministry. And that means I don't take any salary from my church.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anything which happens in the church must be through something else, but not from the funds of the church.
Yeah, church, yeah. So I think I thank God for the business, because if not for the income that we get from the business, I'm not sure we'll be able to support all the things we do in the church, because every weekend we spend more than 1,000 cedis on just food for the children and then for other things we do in the church. So I think that's one of the highest moments that I thank God for, that the business has been able to help us to do. And we've been also able to support a lot of people through school. We pay fees and support a lot of people also through school, unofficial, like we do it. Some people will come and demand, some people to read from our own support them. So for me, I think that's one of the things that I'm grateful to God for, that at least through the business, we've been able to do that. And even for the people we employ, because we see people who really need a job, and by the grace of God, this business is able to meet that need. You meet people in the church who've been searching for jobs for maybe close to 4 or 5 years, and then we are able to employ them and give them at least a livelihood, not only them and their family. So at least so many people are also benefiting from the business. And I think that's something that we are grateful to God for, that it's been able to do. For the low moments, I think sometimes the clients, the customers, some people can insult you. They feel like because you are selling, you are
you don't have any, you don't know anything.
You don't know anything. They can insult you, and then people who can also take the products and they don't want to pay. And then some workers also can really disappoint. I remember one guy, one of our dispatch riders took like 2,000 Ghana. He just went away with it.
No, if you say 2,000 Ghana now, the influence may be less, but 2,000 Ghana cedis in 2017.
Thank you for that addition, Reverend Mensah.
Yeah. And a lot of them, they feel like you have money, so we can just dip our hand and take, whilst they know that we take goods from people and then we pay back. So I think those are some of the, and sometimes it's very tiring. Very, very tiring.
It's just sometimes.
Because up to now, it sounds like the goods we order, they come in the evening, maybe track full, and we are here alone. The two of us will pack all out of the truck. We pack them out of the truck, we carry the boxes in and out. We see us, we carry one of his head. So I think it's tiring anyway and very draining. Sometimes in the morning, the whole morning, sitting down doing calculations here and there. Adding 2 and 3 together the whole morning. You even forget to eat. But through it all, I think the good side outweigh the low side. So, and we are grateful to God for that.
Great. And I'm sure being able to manage your family effectively is also part of the, the benefits as you yourself have.
Because at that point that she had to leave, I think he leaving was very, very, it was very useful because when I have to go, I know that there's someone there taking care of the children, and we don't really have to have an in-house somebody, a help or anything here because he's there to take care of them, see to their breakfast.
And it really became necessary when we had our girl, their daughter, because at that time there was no one with us. I mean, we were truly alone, and she had to go to school, and I had to take care of her. I mean, she was very young then, 6 months. Once in a while, I think it helped. It really helped. There was so much wisdom when you look back, and it's a good thing we did. Sometimes when you are taking a decision, at the time you are making the decision, it's difficult to judge whether you are doing the right thing. But with the benefits of time, when you look back, you're able to assess and say, okay, at least I know I did the right thing. And I think when we look back, not everything has been pleasant as we wish it to be, but we can boldly say that we have been on the right path.
Great. Now I can also testify, I can deduce from your answers that you have managed your family, along lines of, what is working. It's not a matter of this is a man's role. It's not a matter of this is a man's role, this is a man's job, and this is a woman's role. This is a woman's job. And I believe that is what has also helped. Am I right in my, in what I'm saying?
I think so. And I think that's something which people who go into marriage have to be aware of, that once the two of you enter the marriage, I think the outside world, really, no one really cares about you. So it's just what the two of you decide to do. Whatever you choose to do, it's up to you. I think for myself, I try to do what I'm able to do. There are some things naturally I'm unable to do, like putting my hands in water. So because of that, I'm unable to wash dishes. So I can't do that.
I like the way Wilhemina is laughing.
But then any other thing in the house, I do. But putting my hands in water, it gives me cold. So I am unable to do that.
Wow.
Don't worry, I got warm water for you.
I like that appropriate technology, finding a way around it. Oh wow. But I think it's significant. I think it's significant learning for families today to know that if it's going to work, we'll have to, sometimes take our minds off, this is a man's role, this is a woman's role, this is what you're supposed to do, and I can't do this. Otherwise, I mean, things will be very stagnated in our homes and in our marriages. You just celebrated your 10th wedding anniversary. Yes. So happy wedding anniversary to you. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs, especially couples who want to go into online family business beyond the things that you've already said?
She's the expert, so.
Oh, I think that you have to do something within your comfort zone. For me, when it comes to selling, I think it's something which is naturally Was it naturally acquired? Maybe I don't know if it's genetic or it's something in science we call it innate or acquired. Whether it's something which is in me or I acquired it. But I think I had a lot of training from my mom. I have sold all my life, so it was a comfort zone. I don't struggle to do it, and I always tell people that even if I have to sell stones, I can do it. So far as I want to sell. So if you want to go into online business, fine. But it has to be something within your comfort zone, something you can do without struggle. Maybe you see me selling baby products. It's been tough selling baby products, knowing the area, like what pertains, because it wasn't something I had done previously. But because I think baby stuff kind of come very near to science. So because of my background in science, it was a little bit easy. So it has to be within your comfort zone. You don't just say, I want to sell online, but you have to know. And then if you are not technologically savvy, you will not be able to survive, because even the online space, every month, it changes. What was working previously may not work tomorrow. So if you are not ready to learn and adjust, you cannot survive there. So for online, you have to be a learner for you to be able to survive there. I know a lot of other businesses that were traditional shops that thought that, oh, these people are online, so now we also want to be online. But when they started, they realized that it's not just getting a website and then putting the things there, getting a Facebook page and putting the things there, that will make you sell. It takes a lot. A lot goes into it. These days, we are doing something we call content marketing. And if you don't know a hoot about it, you cannot survive online. And every day, new things are coming. These days, it is Reels. And if you don't know anything about Reels, you will not be able to survive online. TikTok is now taking over the scene, and you have to know how to use their interface, how to do videos to be able. So I think for online, you should be a learner. Almost every day, I read an article about what is happening online. Google algorithm, you have to know how it works. You have to know how Facebook algorithm works, how Instagram algorithm works, what engagement is. The whole university on it. So I have a full folder, I've labeled it online university. Every day I put an article in there. So it's not just about saying I want to be online. You should be ready to learn. If not, you cannot do it. Yes. And I think most online businesses will work if, like, you, the person involved, you are directly in there. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So if it's your business and you don't know anything about the online space, it will not work. If you say you are assigning it to somebody to operate it for you, it might not work. You have to personally be involved in interactions, knowing how people interact with your page and all that, for you to be able to know what actually people respond to. Yeah.
So do you think, for example, if you hire the services of a content marketer or something, do you think that fills in the gap?
It may, but you know, these days people actually connect with things that are personalized. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. It has to be personalized, not like I'm being paid to do it. I guess something just happened recently. Sometimes when you post a reel, it takes, let's say, about an hour for you to get about 1,000 views. Then I don't know if you saw an anniversary video that we posted
on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook. I posted on Facebook. I posted it on Instagram.
Okay.
Now on Instagram, when I posted that video, I think it took just about 30 minutes. It had about 5,000 views.
Wow.
Yeah, so I realized that people want to connect with people, not just like I've gotten an information somewhere. That's how content creators were. They went for info about whatever you are doing, and then they'll post it. and there's no personal connection with. So when people saw me in that video, it's like, oh, Mina's like, now they are connecting with the page. Yeah, I don't know if you get what I'm saying. They feel like there's a person, and because all this while we don't run the business with our personal something. We don't thing there. So that is how online. So if you employ a content creator, you'll be able to do content, but it may not really connect with people unless the person really understands whatever you are doing very well. Okay. What happens with these content creators is that he says, oh, I'm a content creator and that's my business. He contacts about 20 companies that he will do content for their online system. So within a day, he's creating content for 20 different companies. And I tell you, will not do any quality work. Because let's say for you to create a video, a reel, for you to get a lot of views, sometimes I spend like maybe 5 days on one content. This video that I posted, at a point I didn't want to post. They just said, you've been working on this thing for 7 months. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of brain work for you to come out with a very good content. So he may be able to do it, but it may be jokes, it may be pictures from somebody's site. But for you to actually create something which is original for your content, I think you have the idea or you know what exactly that you're about, you are the best person to do it. Even if you can do it like 3 times in a week or once in a week, I think it will connect more than somebody who want to add.
No, I think well said.
Yeah.
Right. So you've been doing this business for 6 years, about 6 years and a few months. Is there anything you do differently if you were starting today? What would you do differently?
I think maybe one may be the selection of personnel that we work with. When we started, there were some people we started with who have been with us up till now. There have been people with us who have worked with us for the past 5, 4 years, some 3 years. And instinctively, consciously, we try to do a lot to retain the people that work with us. Yet there have been people who came along who, for one reason or the other, it was beneficial for both of us to practice. And I think it's got to do with the selection of the people for the job. There are times that because you're in a hurry to get someone to fill the role, it's easy to just jump on the next available person. Then sometimes to people you think impress you at interviews may not necessarily show the same level of, may not impress you at work, like the way they impress you at interview. Then we've also realized that there were some people who, at the interview level, we give them no chance. And yet, for some reason, we decided to bring them along. And they have been doing very well. So it's something which it's not scientific. When it comes to selection of people for roles, and it's not scientific. I think you need a third eye, perhaps in selecting people.
Is it a spiritual eye?
I wouldn't say spiritual, but not spiritual.
Just meaning like, is it something about praying, like praying about the people who apply, the people who come for the interviews?
Yeah, yes, prayer you would have to do, but I think you would have to look at something beyond the physical. And I'm not trying to say spiritual, because sometimes when you talk about spiritual, people have this idea that you just dream, then God will show you the face of the person or the name of the person in the sky, then you know that, okay, this is the person fits for the job. That's not the sort of experience I'm talking about. But then, as I said, it's not scientific. Perhaps it's something which, as you grow, it may come over.
We are learning how to do it right. Because most of the time, for the people, they are right. But the kind of work we do here, it may not fit their physical
Fiscal frame.
frame, because it's the work is very tough, and they come in thinking that it's a traditional store, or it's a like normal office where that you sit behind your computer and then you be typing. So I think with time we are learning. Just that the parameters are still very difficult to determine. There are people that at the start they are very slow, but after some time they pick up, and then they are exceptional. There are people too who start out very well, and at a point they kind of score their performance from. So I think that's something maybe we have to put more time and then learning into to determine how to do it well. I think one thing that I think if we are starting, we would have done well also is our accounting, because we didn't start out very well, and at a point we almost landed in trouble with the GRE, because we weren't doing proper accounting. At a point they came at us and we almost lost a lot of money because of those lapses. So I think if we are starting out again, not giving the chance, we will do a proper bookkeeping. We were doing it very well at a point, and then we kind of fall well off at a point. But I think that's something that if anyone is starting, they should really pay attention to, because once you start growing, then the eyes start seeing you. When you are nobody cares about you. But once you start growing, then they start coming at you. Snakes will come, GRA will come, everyone, district assembly will come, everybody will come to take their part of the cake. So you have to do a proper accounting to be able to pay the right taxes and all that.
Okay. So is there any other advice beyond what you've already said?
I think that there's also one thing about supervision, which I think that if you are running a business, and if you can't physically be there, then you have to get the software to be able to monitor. Yes, so it's two things. Either you invest the money into software, cameras, systems, all those things to be able to monitor very well, or you are personally there to monitor, because people will always find loopholes to be able to get something to take. So you have to really find ways to be able to do proper supervision, make sure that your inventory, especially if you are selling, if your inventory is very bad and you know that you are going for losses, you have to be able to do a proper inventory so that you can have a proper account of things that you had and that have been sold, so that you can monitor it. So that's one thing I think if anybody is starting out, if you can't physically be there and you cannot invest in the proper software to be able to monitor everything for you, then please don't go in there, because you can't trust human beings.
Sure. Thank you so much for sharing so frankly. So before we sign off, just a few things. Nina mentioned her favorite Bible verse, so I think I would be asking Reverend Mensah, what is your favorite Bible verse? That is, if you have one.
I'm not sure I have one.
Did I release you by adding?
I'm not sure I have one. That's a very difficult thing. I don't have one.
You have one.
Which one is that?
Don't be loud.
Yes, Mina, please tell us, what do you think? What do you think is his favorite Bible verse?
Once she's quoted it, I think it's a full chapter. So let me read it. It's a full chapter.
But touching the bed, above he falls to sleep. Then when I come where you are sleeping, he gives sleep to those he loves. So yeah.
And I think
127. Yes, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It's very applicable to everyone who is involved in business, whether family, everything that as human beings we are involved in. This is a true God which we have to be mindful of. Psalm 127, that's how it reads. Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. unless the Lord guards the city, the guards keep watching vain. It is vain that you rise up early and go late to rest, eating the bread of anxious toil, for he gives sleep to his beloved. And so that's Psalm 127, 1 and 2. And even as we talk about all these things, I would want people to be aware that the Lord is able to take care of his own. That's it's an assurance that people have to come into. Because I've come to people who sometimes the reason why they want to get into business is because of their own lack of trust in God. They don't believe that God is able to take care of them, even in what they are doing. And here, I may even dare say that private business may not be for every person. There are some people who they are made like Daniel. They must assist other people to succeed. That was the ministry of Daniel. He was always number 2, serving different kings. And for some people, that's their role. But if you don't find it and you want to venture into anything, then you must be mindful that if the Lord does not prosper, you will not prosper. You can do all the things we've mentioned. Proper bookkeeping, do it. Get the best of systems. Get the best of everything. Because there are businesses which have all of it, yet they cannot survive. So the prosperity of any business is something which, in as much as I believe in hard work, it's still something which lies in the hands of God, and we should be mindful of. So when you have to sleep, since they sleep, the Lord will take.
Thank you so much for that reminder. If I have to sleep, I should sleep. Do you have any favorite Bible characters?
You have money, you have everything to run the business, but your people skills also matters. Yes, your people skills. It's one, I think it's maybe rank even above capital, because I think for us, one thing that has really helped is that for most of the business we do, we don't use our money. It is people's money that we use. They give us in booze. And it's because of the relationship and the kind of rapport we have with them, and even with the customers, they keep going and coming every time. So if you are into business and you don't have proper people skills, you don't relate well with people, you may not be able to survive. But that is what has kept us, because where we are located, if we don't have a relationship with you, I'm not sure you will come. But people come all the way from Tema, outside Accra and all that, to come and shop, and even online too. So in as much as God is with you, because I know a lot of Christians do business and they feel like it's failing and that God is not with me and all that. But your people skills is, I think in psychology or intelligence, they call it your
social and social
MS. Yes. I don't know
Social
if you
intelligence, or was it?
Social quotient, SQ.
Social quotient, okay.
You and EQ also very good, but social quotient, how you relate to people is very, very, very key. Sometimes when customers come back with complaints, how you handle it. And I think that's what has really kept us. And for me, they say, oh, we want to mean that there, but sometimes I look at the long haul, how beneficial it will be to the company. And that is one thing I want to share with everybody.
Yeah, then same on the people skills. I think one skills that we have, one part of the people skills that we have to be mindful of is how we relate with our employees. Yes. I've seen people who sometimes just boast that people who sack the employees at the slightest. There are times that employees do, I don't agree with. But then sometimes knowing very well that if you sack that person, if you bring in a new person, training is very expensive. It's something you have to be mindful of. Training the person to bring him up to speed with how the company is running is something very expensive and very difficult to do. So as much as possible, we try to retain our employees. There have been some who do things which are very bad. We find a way of punishing them, but still keeping them and letting them know that we value your services. We don't agree with your character, but then for your services we want. And so in as much as you are willing to reform your character, we will maintain you. And there are some who have sort of changed. There are people who have been able to change their character a little to reflect what we stand for.
Yeah.
So I think when we are patient with people in that regard, they would also be loyal to us. And we have quite a number of people who have been very loyal to us.
Okay. So from the beginning, you said that if you want to run a business, let's say you have a formal job and you want to run a business and run your family, definitely you need people. But if you don't treat them well, they will leave. And if they leave, it affects the family, it affects the business, it will affect your family, to destabilize the business. So, and how to treat your employees so that they will stay is also very crucial. Very, very crucial, because once they come in and they leave, but even your customers will not have people they bond with, because there are some customers, they know certain employee and they come in because of them. So it's very, very important. Value them, the things that affect them, let them also affect you. You see, yesterday I was telling you about my girl who went to drink Parazo and those things. I ran to them, the family called me because I'm directly involved in the girl's life and everything. So each of them, treat them as family. Treat each of them. We celebrate birthdays. Everybody's birthday, we celebrate it here. Like maybe one of my children's birthday, their occasions, we go to funerals where sometimes, even if some of them get sick, their family members get sick, we are there. So you treat them as family, and you also treat your business as theirs. And also let them enjoy. When money comes, let them enjoy so that they'll feel like they are also, yeah. All right, thank you.
Sure. It's been lovely. And then your favorite Bible characters? Favorite Bible characters?
Oh, I think for me to be Apostle Paul. But I hope you're not going to ask why.
Okay, I won't ask you why. Mina, your favorite Bible character?
For me, it's David. It's because I'll give you the reason. Because he shows how imperfect the Christian is. But he had his high moments and he had his low moments. So I always tell people that people don't come in perfect packages. And I think David is a perfect example of that. Times that when he thinks, he asks for forgiveness and then he moves on. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. It's been lovely spending this time with Reverend Kyei Mensah and Dr. Wilhemina Mensah. We are going to put a link to their companies in the description section of this video so you can check them out on Google. I am one of their customers, a happy customer. I've used their services a few times, and I would recommend their services.
You'll be coming again.
Sorry, Amina is asking me if I'm coming again.
No, you will be coming again.
I have used their even their baby food products. I mean, what do you call it? Their supplements for nursing mothers. Yes, I've tried their supplements for nursing mothers also, very good. And I'll recommend it for any nursing mother and any expectant mother. So we encourage you to subscribe to Floodlight Daily for more informative video for your family and ministry. Thank you so much, and God bless you.